Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Wisconsin.
Boy, what a way to cap off the weekend. A perfect Sunday weather-wise. Welcome to Miller Park. Another sellout expected as the Cubs and the Brewers battle the I-94 series. So far, it's belonged to Milwaukee and Zach Greinke. How's he done at home this season? How about perfect for an answer? A 9-0 record, and the team has won all 11 of his starts at Miller Park when he has been out on the mound. Sir, we continue our coverage here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Zach Greinke, a perfect candidate to put on the mound as the Brewers go for another sweep against the Chicago Cubs. And let's set the stage for you and show you how they got here based on Saturday night's performance. From the leadoff role, it's Corey Hart, a single shy of the cycle. A big night for him at the top of the order, including his 20th home run. He was on base all 4 plate appearances. And Prince Fielder's production from the cleanup role. 29th home run on the season, continues to lead the league with 102 RBIs. Giovanni Gallardo out on the hill, notching his career-high 15th win. He does it with 10 strikeouts, no earned runs given up against the Cubs, proving why he's the ace of the staff. This guy can say the same thing, though. The Zach attack. We'll check out some impressive numbers when he wears the home whites with B.A. and Rock when we come back.
Sports Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Triple Hopped Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. By AT&T. And brought to you by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toyota territory at Miller Park.
Oh, if that doesn't whet your appetite for a great day of Brewers baseball, I don't know what does. Sunday here in Milwaukee, Zach Greinke on the mound. He's trying to bounce back from a rough start his last time out against the Pirates. Gave up 7 earned runs and 6 1/3, but Greinke has been very good here at Milwaukee. Miller Park here this afternoon. A beautiful Sunday for baseball at Miller Park, and the Cubs in town for the final time this season. Brewers will have one more series with Chicago at Wrigley Field in a couple of weeks. Last call for the Cubbies here in 2011. Mike Quade and the Cubs come in with 57 wins, 76 losses, and 22.5 back of the Brew Crew in the National League Central. Here is Quade's batting order today, brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Starlin Castro leads off. Darwin Barney batting second with Aramis Ramirez in the 3-hole. You've got Pena, Tyler Colvin, Marlon Byrd in the middle with Alfonso Soriano, Coy Hill, and Casey Coleman rounding it out.
Zach Greinke snapped a personal 5-game winning streak in his start at Pittsburgh last time out. Ran into some problems, but still is putting together a pretty good month of August. 4-1 and a 3.44 earned run average for Zach Greinke.
And defensively behind Greinke today, brought to you by Blaine's Farm and Fleet. It is Braun, Morgan, and Hart. Hairston, Betancourt, Hairston, and Fielder. Got 2 Hairstons in there. That's impossible, but it's cool. Jonathan Lucroy does the catching. No, Casey McGee playing third base. I mean, Jerry Hairston is...
He's pretty good, but not that good.
He's not omnipresent. So Starlin Castro leads off. Castro hit a leadoff home run on Friday night, rips that one to right field, right at Corey Hart. And that's how Greinke's afternoon begins today.
Well, from what we've seen, as you take a look at the umpires for today, Bill Miller behind home plate. You got James Hoy, Phil Cuzzy, Tom Hallion from first to third. But these Cubs have been hunting fastballs early in the count in this series. And you can see Castro hit that one pretty well.
A lot of free swinging up there by the Chicago Cubs. They've swung the bats pretty well this year statistically. They're among league leaders in a number of offensive categories, including batting average. Down in the league in runs scored. And last night was symbolic of the kind of year that they've had. They had 10 hits last night, but scored just 4 runs. 3 of those came with one swing of the bat from Soriano when he drove in 3 with a double in the 8th inning. Cubs brought it to within 2 runs last night before Francisco Rodriguez and John Axford closed the door on the Cubs. And the Brewers now 49-16 at home this year. Brewers have dominated games at home and in their division this season. With that win last night, the Brewers now 19 games above 500 against the National League Central. 40-21 is the record.
Just been playing some consistent baseball. The last series that the Brewers have lost right after the All-Star break at San Francisco, lost 2 out of 3 to the Giants. But since that time, they've been playing some good, solid baseball and have themselves a comfortable 10.5 game lead in the Central.
Cardinals lost yesterday to the Pirates. The Brewers winning last night over the Cubs. And 28 games left in the regular season and a 10.5 game lead. Bouncing ball to Prince Fielder. He'll take it to the bag himself. 2 up, 2 down for Zach Greinke. Couldn't have better weather in the Midwest right now. There's a lot of trouble out east with Hurricane Irene moving through and has been downgraded to a tropical storm. But here in the Midwest, it has been ideal. 71 degrees today. Got a ball game here at Miller Park. You got the U.S. Amateur just up the road at Erin Hills. A lot of great stuff going on here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 2011. All kicked off by that Super Bowl championship. The Packers winning the Super Bowl title. Badgers into the Rose Bowl. A couple of Sweet 16 appearances. We saw Buzz Williams today, the Marquette head basketball coach. He threw out the first pitch.
Yeah, he's a big fan. We've seen him at the ballpark quite a bit. But you're right, things are been pretty good in the Midwest for the fans, the sports fans in Wisconsin this year.
But a baseball run, a trip to the postseason, a trip to the World Series would certainly cap it off in the right way. A lot of baseball to be played, but the Brewers have put themselves in a great spot. As Aramis Ramirez showing some patience in his first at bat today.
3-1 the count to Aramis Ramirez, hitting .312 this year. And it's 3-2. Ramirez in a contract year, does have an option on his contract for next year, but it is a team option. The Cubs have the choice. Yeah, who knows? The Cubs are going to need some bats in their lineup. Ramirez, of all the Cubs that have signed long-term deals over the last few years, he's the one that has been the most productive in his time in Chicago. As Greinke strikes him out. Zach Greinke with a great start, 1-2-3 inning. Ramirez not happy with Bill Miller. Greinke's first strikeout. Bill Miller, and then Mike Quade comes in, and whatever Quade said, Miller ejected him quickly. The 6th ejection for Mike Quade this year. It looked like Miller and Ramirez had it all worked out. You know, Ramirez was on his way back, but something that Quade said, those magic words perhaps.
Yeah, you never know what it was, but it certainly looked like a pitch. It was down in the strike zone based on how the strike zone's called these days, and Bill Miller rings him up. A very beneficial call for Zach Greinke.
So here we go to the bottom of the first inning, and Corey Hart will lead off. Hart, Morgan, and Braun to start it against Casey Coleman, who made his major league debut against the Brewers last year. 2 starts against Milwaukee a season ago. Has a very unorthodox motion from the windup. Almost puts himself into a stretch position once he starts his motion. Pat Listash will manage the club now.
Yeah, there's your new Cubs manager for the day. He's got just about the whole day to manage. So Pat Listash in the driver's seat this afternoon.
Former Brewers Rookie of the Year. Bouncing ball toward the middle. That's a base hit. They had Hart covered in the hole, and he bangs one up the middle for a single. All right, let's give you the rest of the Brewers batting order. You've seen Hart. You've got Morgan to follow, then Braun, Fielder, McGee, and Betancourt in the middle, with Hairston, Lucroy, and Zach Greinke rounding it out. Starting 9 for the Brewers, brought to you by Piggly Wiggly.
Well, Casey Coleman started the year with the Cubs, bounced between the rotation and the bullpen. This is his 12th start today. Had pretty good numbers down in AAA. AAA Iowa. He was 5-2 in 12 starts with an ERA at about 3.5.
Morgan drops a bunt down. It's a good one. And a throw to first in time. Barely. Nyjer Morgan, by a spike on his shoe,
called out at first base. A sacrifice bunt for Morgan.
Yeah, beauty. Yeah, Niger's been doing a lot of that. The Brewers have been very good at dropping down those sac bunts. And why not with Ryan and Prince coming up? A pretty close play. Pena looked as though he wanted to make the tag, realized he couldn't, and almost lost Niger at first base.
Yeah, looked like a good call. James Hoy, the first base umpire. So a sacrifice for Morgan puts Corey Hart at second. And here is Ryan Braun. This formula has worked very well for the Brewers. And Braun rifles one right field. That's going to go to the wall. Hart will score. And Braun into second with a double, an RBI double that gives Milwaukee the first lead.
It's just unbelievable watching Ryan Braun get his at-bats lately. It's like no batting practice today. Nothing going on at all. They just show up and he hits a rocket on the first pitch that he sees into right field. A beautiful approach by Ryan. He takes it down the line and the Brewers jump on top quickly.
Corey Hart safe at home, safe and secure. New York Life on a double from Braun. He doubled in the first inning yesterday for an RBI. That is his 35th double, which ties him with Troy Tulowitzki, second in the league, one behind Justin Upton of the Diamondbacks. And now Fielder into right center deep. This is going to stay in the ballpark though. As Marlon Byrd makes a catch, Braun on his way to third. Long throw in is off the mark. And Braun advances. And the fly ball out by Fielder. 2 gone in the inning now. So McGee steps up, hit his 11th home run last night. He has had great success against the Chicago Cubs throughout his career, and he added to those totals last night. McGee now 11 homers, 63 runs batted in. The Powerball home run leaderboard has Fielder at the top with 29. He hit number 29 last night. You got Braun with 25, and Corey Hart joined the group in the 20s with his 20th home run last night as well. Hart hit a 7th inning homer.
Offense has been clicking from Milwaukee, now 3rd in National League in batting average, 3rd in homers and 4th in runs scored, to go along with some very good pitching.
A quick attack for the Brewers offensively in the bottom of the first. Corey Hart extending his hitting streak to 11 games with the leadoff single. And then Braun banging out another double. He now has 88 runs batted in to go along with his 25 home runs, and he is zeroed in on a batting title this year. He was just percentage points off Jose Reyes's National League leading mark, and Braun's batting average bumps up a notch to 333. Reyes at 336. And it kind of feels like Braun just woke up one day and said, you know, I think I'm going to try to win a batting title. I'm going to go get 2 hits every day.
You think it's as easy as that for him?
Seems like it is.
It does look like it, but I don't think so. But he's just seeing the baseball well right now. And hitting the ball where it's pitched. I mean, talk about a fundamental philosophy. It sounds easy. I think I want to hit this ball to right field, but Ryan does it with power, and he drives the ball to the opposite field. Just a pure hitter having a terrific season.
Ball and 2 strikes on Casey McGee facing Casey Coleman. Coleman just 24 years of age, getting a chance. Some regular rotation turns for the Chicago Cubs. And up and down this year. Not more on Ryan Braun. You take a look at his recent numbers. You go back the last 16 games. This was prior to the double just a moment ago. A 4.11 average, 4 homers, 13 runs batted in. He scored as many runs as games played, so you can add 14 RBIs in his last 17 if you count his first at bat. As McGee swings and misses on a slow curveball, and the side retired. But the Brewers put a tally on the board first, 1-0 as we go to the second.
50th home win of the season. As you take a look what they have done so far with a 49-16 record, that is a 754 home winning percentage, which leads the major leagues. And BA, you got to start looking at this from a historical standpoint. With 15 games to go, 15 more home games to go, and the Brewers already with 49 wins, they can make their own mark in history with their home success.
Well, the superlatives continue to fly, and I think our challenge right now, Rock and Ratelli, is you don't want to unload them all at once because it turns into white noise at some point. There are so many good things going on with this ball club.
Man, just hope it continues. I mean, you know, all the superlatives, all the great things, and they still have not clinched a playoff berth. And I think, you know, we as broadcasters, the team certainly has to keep that in focus. But it certainly is a lot of fun to keep a track of what these guys have been doing all year.
The magic number is at 19 right now, a combination of a Brewers win or a Cardinals loss. And that'll be the division clincher. What's interesting about the Brewers this year at home, they have played 21 home series, and they are 17-4 in those home series. They've actually had 8 sweeps here at Miller Park, so they've got a chance for their 9th sweep of the season in their home ballpark. 2, 3, or 4 game series.
Well, the Brewers are hitting .281 as a team at home, and the team earned run average at 3.26, and Zach Greinke leading the charge in that department here at home.
Greinke actually set a franchise record starting a career as a Brewer with 9 wins, which is what he's currently on as he strikes out Carlos Pena, and he broke out a changeup against the big lefty.
Yeah, that's the thing that's been really the difference for Zach in his last dozen or so starts. That pitch right there, he's added that changeup. It's been a good pitch for him. All 4 pitches working well. The curveball, the fastball, obviously, and the slider.
Greinke with back-to-back strikeouts. He punched out Ramirez in the bottom of the first inning, or rather top of the first inning. And now facing Tyler Colvin. If you're just joining us, Mike Quade was ejected from this game after that strike call by Bill Miller. Oh, and 2 on Tyler Colvin. Greinke at 12-5 on the season. Looking for win number 13. He strikes out Colvin, and again took something off. 3 consecutive strikeouts for Greinke.
Yeah, back-to-back changeups to get Colvin. Hey, during Majestic Athletic Walk-Off Wednesdays, fan who purchases a Majestic name and number T-shirt will be eligible to win an authentic Majestic Brewers jersey if the player on their T-shirt hits a walk-off homer, only on Wednesdays.
Marlon Byrd for the Cubs with 2 gone in the second inning. Brewers with a 1-0 lead. Ryan Braun an RBI double. Bottom of the first to give Milwaukee the early lead today. Byrd takes a strike. Greinke with those 9 wins here at home in just 12 games, 11 starts in his career.
He just pitches with a lot of confidence, just like, you know, the Brewers in general play with a lot of confidence here at Miller Park. And the thing about Greinke's numbers here, this is a pretty good hitter's ballpark. They're able to keep the baseball in the ballpark. The one thing that Greinke's had a bit of a problem with this year, if anything, lately, home runs. He's given up 16. 16 homers allowed in 21 starts.
Greinke made 1 appearance as a reliever here at Miller Park while he was a member of the Royals back in '07. All of his other outings have been starts, and all of them have been as a Milwaukee Brewers. He misses with a breaking ball. Byrd lays off. .980, 3.15 ERA in 11 starts this year. Bird lifts one foul in the seats. Marlon Byrd had a good night last night. The Cubs scored 4 runs, some late runs, and Byrd was a part of that. He had 3 hits last night, including an infield hit in the 8th inning. And he was aboard and scored a run when Soriano drove in 3. But K-Rod at Axford shut it down quickly over the Cubs as Byrd takes a ball down and in. So Greinke issues the walk, his first walk of the game.
He's got a walk to strikeout ratio at 5-to-1. 5 strikeouts for every walk for Zack Greinke. Only the 31st walk of the year issued by Zack this year. One of the reasons why he's had such good numbers lately. He does not issue free passes. As a matter of fact, none of the Brewers really walk many. Second fewest walks of any team in the National League. The Brewers pitching staff.
Soriano a big swing and a miss. Normally with a guy who doesn't walk many, you figure him to be a control type pitcher, not a big strikeout pitcher. Greinke is just the opposite. He keeps his walks down and his strikeouts up. Soriano deep center field, way up there. Nyjer Morgan is over. He wants it, and the side is retired. Soriano just missed one. Greinke's got the strikeouts going early. Already 3 in this ball game, 2 in the 2nd inning. Start the 2nd. Betancourt, Hairston, and Lucroy. First 3 up against Casey Coleman. Talk about the windup here of Casey Coleman. It's interesting.
Yeah, a bit herky-jerky. You really have to pick up a spot where you see that ball coming out. You really can't figure. You try and follow that baseball as he goes through his delivery. It starts out as a windup, and then he'll stop, and it's almost a combination between a windup and pitching from the stretch. Not sure why he does it. Maybe just to collect himself, make sure he's not leaning forward too much or being a little bit too quick to home plate. See the way he bounces off that back leg, and then everything else is pretty much standard. But what is unusual is the start to the whole windup.
Jerry Hairston Jr. takes a strike from Casey Coleman.
And watch, he's going to start as though, you know, he's going to, I'm not sure what that is. I don't know why he does that. He starts and then he stops and then he kind of delivers the baseball to home plate. Well, it works for him apparently.
Yeah. Jerry Hairston Jr. with a base hit to right.
I was talking to you know, Dale before the ball game down in the Brewers clubhouse. Again, there was no batting practice for either team today, so I was talking to Dale and he was telling me that you got to be careful trying to follow that delivery, and he's not overpowering. He's going to throw, you know, upper 80s with a slurvy type breaking ball and a changeup. He'll throw a lot of changeups to lefties, but not overpowering. Relies on command. He said that from time to time his baseball will sink pretty well. You got to make him get the pitch up in the zone early in the count.
Brewers already with 3 hits. Lucroy bounces one out to Castro. Got a chance for 2 here. And 6-4-3 goes around the horn. To the third we go. 1-0 Brew Crew. Is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Subway. Try our $5 featured footlong of the month. Subway, where winners eat. After the game on Fox Sports Wisconsin, join Tom Brokaw for Boys in the Hall. The personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. This week it is Duke Snyder, the Duke of Flatbush. Boys in the Hall after the game, presented by Subway Restaurants, where winners eat. Sentiment from Brewers fans as they have dismantled the Cubs this season. Brewers looking for a sweep over the Cubs, trying to make it back-to-back sweeps of the Cubs here at Miller Park. And the Brewers currently 8-4 against Chicago this year. Brewers have not had a winning record against the Cubs in a season series since 2005.
Wow.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but the season, the career all-time records are fairly close, are they not?
Mm-hmm. All time, the Brewers are 2 under.
Right. It really doesn't matter what team it is that has been dominating, you know, the standings. It seems like these two teams play each other pretty tough.
That all time at Miller Park, 2 under. Home and road. Brewers are 8 under as Zach Greinke picks up another strikeout, punches out Coy Hill. 4th strikeout for Zach Greinke. He's having a number on the left-handed hitters.
And another changeup for a strikeout. I mean, that's a good pitch for him here this afternoon so far. It's been fastballs, sliders to the right-handers, fastballs, changeups right there to get Coy Hill to the lefties.
Casey Coleman, the Cubs pitcher, takes a strike. Casey Coleman has a couple of hits this year. He's 2 for 16. He has spent a good part of the season in AAA, the I-Cubs, the Iowa Cubs. But you figure he is here to stay for the rest of the year, and he'll have a chance to pitch his way into a rotation or bullpen spot for next season.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in general with the Cubs organization. Their front office could very well get cleaned out pretty good. The general manager, Jim Hendry, already fired.
Well, you would have a hard time finding an organization who has more questions right now than the Chicago Cubs. You could put the Dodgers on that list from a front office perspective, and a business operations perspective, but the Cubs are about to undergo a complete regime change in their baseball operations, which is going to directly result, you would think, in a managerial change, and you have coaches' jobs up for grabs, and certainly the players and where they go moving on in the free agent market.
It will be interesting. Carlos Pena will be a free agent at the end of the year. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Ramirez and guys like that. It's a pretty good nucleus of players.
Fly ball into center field. Nigel Morgan is there for out number 2.
The problem is they haven't been able to win on a consistent basis. Hey, on Sunday, September 25th, the Brewers take on the Marlins. All fans in attendance get a Randy Wolf bobblehead, compliments of Robert Hack Diamonds. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com.
Greinke with 4 strikeouts. The only base runner, a Marlon Byrd walk last inning. That came with 2 away. Top of the order now, Starlin Castro. Part of the Cubs nucleus. Cubs are going to be pretty strong up the middle for a while, you figure, with Starlin Castro, the shortstop, and Darwin Barney at second base.
And when you look at his lineup that Mike Quade fills out just about every day, I mean, it's a pretty good lineup on paper. Bird, Soriano, Ramirez. And you got Starlin Castro, who's only 21 years old, and this guy shows signs of brilliance both at the plate and in the field. A little bit inconsistent, but that's because he's young. And Darwin Barney, a double play duo, probably pretty well set in stone for a while, you would think. Got to work out their pitching. That's what the Cubs' issue has been this year.
Greinke falling behind Castro, 3-0. And there's strike 1. Finally getting some ball games underway today in the big leagues on the East Coast. Baltimore back at it today, hosting the New York Yankees. That's a good sign. The hurricane that came through, downgraded to a tropical storm, but it has wreaked havoc on the East Coast baseball schedule. There could be a ton of games to make up, double headers, teams playing on off days, and that could play big as we wind down this pennant race in the final month.
It could have an effect on how well rested teams like the Philadelphia Phillies are going to be. You know, the Atlanta Braves and the Mets postponed today.
3-2 pitch. Castro fouls it back.
Yeah, it could create problems with pitching rotations and how pitchers are used. But for those Mets, not having an off day the rest of the year, that's going to hurt them big time.
Yankees will play it out, and not only are they going to be without off days the rest of the season, but they'll be playing a couple of double headers as well. Greinke just missed, and that's the second walk issued by Greinke, a 2-out walk again for the second consecutive inning.
Well, that's a tough pitch to take right there. That's a good slider from Greinke and just missed off the corner. A very good take by Starlin Castro, who doesn't walk that much. Look at that pitch. My goodness.
So Darwin Barney with a runner at first and 2 gone. The second place Cardinals are underway, hosting the Pirates. Pittsburgh scored a run in the first. St. Louis added 3 runs in the bottom of the first. So it's 3-1 St. Louis behind Kyle Loesch. And now the Pirates have added another run. So it's 3-2. Little bouncer out to Jerry Hairston. He makes a play, and Greinke is through 3. 1-0 Milwaukee.
Brewers game is brought to you by Miller High Life. This summer, find out how giving back bottle caps can give returning vets a piece of the high life. Go to MillerHighLife.com for details.
Elvis in the building, Rock. And he says, Brewers rock.
Hunka hunka.
He knows how to get himself on. That's not the honky tonk man, is it?
No.
Thought for a minute.
If it was, we'd have heard about it. Mike Vassallo would have been running in here and telling us to interview him.
He looks a lot like the honky tonk man, but there's only one.
Well, the honky tonk man is supposed to look like Elvis.
Oh, I get it. Zach Greinke leads off for the Brewers against Casey Coleman. Greinke does have a homer this year. His lone RBI. Greinke is 6 for 34 at the plate. Coleman hits the outside corner. Corey Hart coming up next. 9-1-2 due up for the Brewers in the third. Hart scored the lone Brewer run. Fast start today for Milwaukee after Braun drove in Hart with a double.
You know, we did that promo for the bottle cap promotion that Miller High Life's putting together. You know, the USO had a guest here in our booth today, Kenneth Burkhalter. He's the son of a nurse over in Afghanistan, and wanted to come up and say hello today. So USO doing good work for the families and soldiers, friends of military personnel. Good people. USO Wisconsin.
We welcome all of our military personnel watching today. Now, your son Billy, he's over in Afghanistan. Is he able to, when it's not on the Armed Forces Network?
Just AFN. He's seen Brewer games before. He saw the triple play game.
He seems like he knows more about the team than his father at times, even though he's in Afghanistan.
Right.
Because you're always telling me things that he has told you that you use on the air.
Right. You're talking about pitching matchups and things like that. You know, it's a good diversion for the guys over there talking about the Brewers and baseball, football, and things like that. I'm going to let that slide, what you just said about, you know.
But just because you know it's true.
Yeah. But, you know, when he calls, you know, we don't talk too much about what's going on with him. I mean, I'd love to have him talk about it, but that's the last thing he wants to talk about. So we talk about the Brewers and, you know, what's going on with the Packers and things like that, Badger football. It's a good diversion for all the service folks over there serving our country.
He's always coming up with the good stats, you know, the good nuggets. Three balls and a strike on Corey Hart, and a swing and a miss. For example, your son has brought up that Corey Hart has a heart cycle as he draws the walk. You know what I'm saying? He missed
two doubles instead of a homer, right?
No, he was a single away from a cycle yesterday. This is what he did yesterday. He doubled in his first at bat. He tripled in his next at bat. He drove in a run with that triple. And then he walked, and then he hit a home run. So that was yesterday. He was a single away from the cycle. Now in his first at bat today, that's a single. So
that's a heart cycle?
It is not authorized by Major League Baseball as a cycle officially, but it is a Corey Hart cycle.
Within 24 hours.
Right. I mean, at bats are at bats.
I get it.
He does all four in 4 at bats. Single, double, triple, homer.
You know what he did ask me today when I talked. Actually, I was at the ballpark. He gave me a call and he wanted to know if when the last time they had co-MVPs in the National League.
There you go.
Talking about Ryan and Prince.
Food for thought. And did you take the next step and look that up?
I have not looked that up. I was too excited to hear from him today. We have R&D on that, don't we?
I don't know. Everybody's kind of looking around at each other right now.
To your left. Your stats man.
Morgan takes a ball down and away. I think now the audience understands what I'm talking about with you and your son. He says all these things you don't typically follow up.
Right.
The rest of us do, and we turn it into a graphic or some kind of highlight package.
Right. Well, I'm kind of, you know, research challenged.
So we appreciate Billy. In more ways than one. Now Morgan's got the count at his favor now. Top of the order has been impressive. Morgan comes in with a batting average over 300. He's hitting 307. Dropped down a sacrifice bunt in the first inning. And Morgan takes a strike. It's another thing the Brewers do well this season. It's a little thing, but Corey Hart breaks like he's running. And with a left-handed hitter up there, the catcher has no idea that he's stopped. So he comes out of the chute to make a throw. If it's a borderline pitch, sometimes it's tough to get a strike call. Now Hart is running as Nigel Morgan draws the walk. So back-to-back walks with one away. And the Brewers with 2 on, and Ryan Braun coming up.
Hey, place a down payment on your 2012 Brewers season tickets and guarantee your 2011 postseason Brewer ticket rights at Miller Park. Call 414-902-HITS or visit Brewers.com. Just to let you know, 1979, Keith Hernandez and Willie Stargell, co-MVPs. Well, what do you got to say for yourself now?
We had that. We just wanted you to do it.
You just wanted to see if I could get to it?
Complete the circle.
How'd I do?
You did great. Don't you feel better? 1979.
I'm not sure if I feel better or not.
Here's Braun, a chance to add to the lead. The dynamic duo, Braun and Fielder. Ryan Braun with his 88th run batted in the first inning. Braun has narrowly missed 2 home runs in this series with the Cubs. One off the top of the wall, the other terrific leaping catch at the wall by Marlon Byrd yesterday. Braun's got a chance at a 30-30 season this year. He's already achieved the 30 stolen base number. Only Tommy Harper has achieved a 30-30 season in Brewers franchise history. It's Mark Riggins, the Cubs pitching coach. Quick trip to the mound for Coleman. Tommy Harper did it in 1970, had 31 homers and 38 stolen bases. That was the first year, the very first year that the Brewers franchise was in Milwaukee. The first year in franchise history was '69. The Seattle Pilots. So technically that is part of franchise history. But the first year in Milwaukee was 1970. Braun has exactly 30 steals and 25 home runs.
And you have to figure with as much season as there is left, he's got a pretty good shot at that 5 home runs.
2 on, 1 out. And now it's 3-0 on Braun with the big man coming up next. Typically this year, the Brewers have had the green light with 3-0. Braun rarely swings at 3-0. Fielder's the one who takes a lot of 3-0 hacks. And Braun will watch that one go by. Ball 4, bases loaded. With the cleanup man coming up to do just that. Three straight walks puts Prince Fielder at the plate with 1 away. Even the fans are in beast mode now. There's a breaking ball for a strike.
And started him out with a slider, trying to throw something different. Really had no command of the fastball. Trying to change it up a little bit. It was a good call by Coy Hill.
Corey Hart, a 1-out walk. Morgan followed with a walk. Braun on a 4-pitch walk from Coleman. Bases loaded, 1 away. Fielder can level a big blow to the Cubs right here and now as he swings and pulls one to second. Barney to second for 1. Castro's throw to first. Dug out by Pena. And the Cubs get out of it. Bases loaded. Fielder at the plate. Casey Coleman survives. The Brewers come up empty in the 3rd inning.
the bottom of the first inning. Ryan Braun driving in his 88th run of the season with a double down the right field line. And since then, it's been all about Zach Greinke. Through 3 innings, no hits, 4 strikeouts for Mr. Greinke, as he seems to be right on track at what he's been doing all season long here at Miller Park, B.A.
All right, Telly, thanks. Trying to add to those 9 wins. Greinke could go to 10-0 at Miller Park with a victory here this afternoon. Cubs get out of a huge jam, though. The bases loaded, 1 out. Fielder at the plate. Coleman gets a 4-6-3 double play, and a beautifully turned double play by Starlin Castro to even have a chance at an out.
I'll tell you, Braun came in there hard on Castro, and he made a pretty decent throw, you know, given the situation. But how about the pick by Carlos Pena? That was a tough hop. One of those in-between hops. He's able to grab it. If he doesn't pick that, it goes into foul territory. That's 2 runs.
Pena showing off that Gold Glove form at first base. Ramirez way out in front.
Yeah, one of the few slow curveballs that Greinke's thrown so far today.
Greinke has been as fast as 94 with a fastball. That slow curveball as low as 68. He's dropped that curveball into the low 60s this season. There was some talk that the Brewers would skip Greinke's spot in the rotation, bump him back a couple of days, with the Brewers having 2 scheduled off days between starts. But after it was discussed and Rick Kranitz went to Greinke, and Greinke said he wanted to stay as close to his rotation spot as possible. It's almost like a badge of honor right now for these starting pitchers to hit their spots.
You know, all of them, none of them really wanted to have the extra time. So you drop one guy, you get him out of his normal routine, and
line drive to Braun for the first out as Ramirez is retired. So let's take you back to that double play, Rock, that you're talking about, and the pick by Pena at first base.
Watch Brawny coming in hard on and Castro, and that's a heck of a play by Castro. He jumping out of the way of Braun. He gets as much on it as he can. Check it out. And look at the pick by Pena. If he doesn't come up with that, that's 2 runs. A heck of a job by both Castro to really make it even close at first base, and Pena with the good hands to be able to get the out.
The arm strength of Castro to make a throw like that in that position. Here is Pena, first ball swinging, fouls it away. Pena coming in with 23 home runs on the year. Of all of the Cubs, Pena has the most experience against Zach Greinke. Not necessarily good experience, but he came in with 33 career at-bats against Greinke. By far the most of any of the Cubs hitters. Marlon Byrd the closest. Marlon Byrd with 18 career at-bats against Greinke. Pena 5 for 33 lifetime, now 5 for 34. Does have a home run against him, but how about this, Rock? Greinke has struck him out 18 times in those 34 at-bats.
Well, that's what Pena does. I mean, he's a guy that's going to strike out quite a bit, but he does have the home run threat. But as we saw, he's pretty good over there at first base. He'll save you some runs.
Greinke going with a fastball. He struck out Pena on a changeup in the second inning. Zach with 4 Ks. He's not allowed a hit. He's given up 2 walks. Marlon Byrd and Starlin Castro, the 2 Cubs base runners so far.
Another changeup. This time it was up in the zone, and Pena able to get a bat on it. Changeups are very good pitches to teams that like to hunt fastballs that are all over them early in the count. A little bit out in front, but it was upstairs.
Greinke mad at himself at the location of that changeup. The 2-2. Slow curve pulled out to second base. Jerry Hairston will make the play for out number 2. Carsoup.com email the booth question. If the playoffs started now, who do you think would start game 1? Scott, that is the hot question right now.
Right.
You cannot get an answer out of Ron Renicky or Rick Kranitz.
Well, let me throw this at you. If the first game, and it looks as though if things stay the way they are, they're at home at Miller Park, and who has been the best starting pitcher for the Brewers at Miller Park?
Yeah, the man on the mound, Zach Greinke.
Not to say that's the answer, but that's maybe a consideration.
Tyler Colvin pops it up. Hairston is back in the grass. He wants it. And a 1-2-3 inning for Zach Greinke. Driven in by Ryan Braun, and it's 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the fourth. AT&T trivia from Miller Park today named the 4 families to have 3 generations play in the major leagues. We'll give you a hint. 2 of them are here in this game today, both in the starting lineup. How about that, Rob?
That's awesome.
Half of the 3 generation families in this game as McGee bounces one to Castro and a long throw in time for the out. 1 pitch, 1 out for Casey Coleman.
How about that arm by Starlin Castro, flat-footed in short left field. Effortless throw to first base.
Castro's done some nice work with his glove in this game.
I knew he had time. I really didn't. I guess he could have made a couple of crow hops, but flat-footed, and look at that throw. That's not an easy throw to make.
Not an easy throw without gravity taking over. There's Battencourt with 1 gone. He bounced out. He tried to bunt his way on in the second inning. A little bouncer to the left side of the mound. Coleman, who's a very good athlete, jumped on it quickly and made it an easy play. In the air to left center. Playable. Bird and Soriano converge, and it's Soriano to make the catch for out number 2. Well, the Pirates are at it again on the Cardinals. They scored 3 runs in the second inning. They now lead St. Louis 4-3.
And Jeff Carson's against Kyle Loesch today.
Did you see that the Cardinals changed their rotation for the Brewers series?
Right, yeah.
And what makes it noteworthy is the fact that not only are they going to skip Chris Carpenter, but they're going to skip Jaime Garcia.
Right. 2 of their best. Carpenter's been having a tough time. He got hit up pretty good yesterday.
The Cardinals have an off day tomorrow. It'll be Edwin Jackson Tuesday, Jake Westbrook Wednesday, and Brandon Dixon on Thursday afternoon. Brewers and the Cardinals beginning Tuesday here at Miller Park, continuing this homestand.
Chris Carpenter was outstanding against the Brewers in St. Louis.
That was big news out of St. Louis, the fact that Carpenter not coming back on his regular day, and Garcia all in all skipped against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Of course, that could change.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you never know until game time.
Joe McGreen could be starting Tuesday for all we know. 1-2 to Jerry Hairston. Jerry Hairston with a single his last time up. Shot one into right field. The Brewers have 3 hits on Casey Coleman. 2 of them came in the first inning. Braun had the RBI double. As Hairston takes a called strike 3. Inning over. We head to the 5th. Cubs coming up. Zach Greinke back on the mound.
Grub in Wisconsin Dells. If the Tavern calls the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to an April and May Brewers home game next year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Zach Greinke back on the bump. He starts his 5th inning of work against the Chicago Cubs. And you see the numbers so far today. 4 innings. The Cubs are without a hit. 2 walks for Greinke. And that's been it for base runners. Zach with 4 strikeouts to go along with those 2 walks. And Greinke will face Marlon Byrd to lead off the 5th inning. Marlon Byrd, Alfonso Soriano, and the switch hitter Coy Hill. Looks like Greinke is bringing the full repertoire here today.
Yeah, he's got a good changeup. He's starting to mix in some curveballs. That's what he's been doing lately in his last dozen starts, mixing it up very well. You know, when he first came off the disabled list, and he was just basically a two-pitch pitcher, you know, just trying to settle in, fastball, slider. It's taken him a while to break out the other two pitches, but that's what he's been doing.
Greinke's worst start of the year as a Brewer, one of, I guess you could call it his worst, because he gave up 8 runs in 5 1/3. Probably his worst start of the season was against the Yankees. He's had very few poor outings. A little soft fly ball, that's going to fall for a base hit. And the first hit of the ball game for the Cubs comes on a broken bat single by Marlon Byrd. Just a reminder, you can log on to Fox Sports Wisconsin right now. Check out Jerry Augustine's latest fist list. Read up on Jerry's 5 things that have keyed the Brewers' recent run. That and much more. FoxSportsWisconsin.com. Greinke has had just a couple of blow-up games this year. One of them came against the Cubs on the 16th of June. Gave up 8 earned runs in 5 1/3 against Chicago. That was at Wrigley Field. But his next turn against the Cubs was his last start of July, and he went 6 2/3, no runs. He gave up just 3 hits in that game, and that was a win. And that started the run for Greinke, winning 5 consecutive starts through the end of July and until his last start. Hey, what a play! Zach Greinke turns it into 2. Here's a guy who could win a Gold Glove on the mound this year, and he shows off that Gold Glove form right there. What a play that was!
Yeah, good instincts, good reactions from Greinke. He fields his position very well. There's a curveball off the end of the bat. Greinke had it all the way, and look how quickly he gets it to Prince. Nothing to it.
Put himself in a good spot to make a play. 2 outs. That wipes out the leadoff base hit as he gets ahead of Coy Hill. I'm always fascinated by pitchers who make plays like that. Not necessarily the instinct plays, but to be so focused on making the right pitch, you finally let the ball go, and now you got to turn yourself into a defender.
Yeah, you're another infielder once you get rid of the baseball. Well, you can see the way Zach, when he finishes, he does follow through with the arm, but very quickly he squares his shoulder to the hitter. That allows him to go either way very quickly, and not many power pitchers do that.
1-2 to Hill, and another change, and he strikes him out. That has been a good pitch for him today. 5 strikeouts for Zach Greinke. 5 shutout innings for the big right-hander. Brewers coming to bat, down 1-0. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Milwaukee Brewers, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. 1-0 Crew as we move to the bottom of the fifth. Jonathan Lucroy leads off. It'll be Lucroy, Greinke, and then back to the top of the order, Corey Hart. A first inning run has held up for Greinke.
Yeah, Casey Coleman has settled in nicely, except for the 3 walks. He got the double play, but the Brewers haven't had much going since the first inning.
Brewers with 2 hits and a run in the first. Coleman walked the bases loaded in the third with Fielder coming up, and Coleman got him to bounce into a 4-6-3 double play. That was the moment of the ball game so far. Fielder could have delivered a big punch to the Brewers' chances. Brewers have won the first 2 games of this series. Close games both. A 5-2 win Friday and a 6-4 win last night as Lucroy is rung up on strikes. 1 gone here in the fifth. 3rd strikeout for Coleman. AT&T trivia: the 4 families to have 3 generations play in the major leagues. Half of them are here. I think the Boones and the Bells are the ones that come to mind first. But then the Hairstons, Jerry Hairston, his father and his grandfather, Jerry's brother, also a big leaguer. And then, of course, the Colemans, as Zach Greinke whistles one to right. A single for Zach Greinke.
Just like he knew what he was doing. That's a good piece of hitting by Greinke. A fastball up and away, and he hits a rocket into right field. Ball had a good sound to it. Gets on top of it and drives it into right.
So Greinke is aboard. He is a good base runner. And now Corey Hart, who is 1 for 1, a single and a walk today. Now, Casey Coleman's father, Joe, longtime big leaguer, 15 years in the major leagues. He pitched for the Cubs in '76, I think it was. And then his grandfather, Joe, played in the major leagues in the 40s and the 50s. So we got the Boones and the Bells. None of the Boones are still active, and none of the Bells are still active.
Yeah, Ray and Bob Boone, both catchers. Gus Bell was a catcher. I played against Buddy Bell. That guy could hit a little bit. 3rd baseman.
So now you've among active players, you've got the Colemans and the Hairstons. 3-generation legacies in the major leagues. Greinke takes off, and Hart will let him run. A delay steal. Zach Greinke swipes second base.
Well, they weren't holding him on. Payne was behind him. And I would imagine Garth Ward saying, well, if you think you can go, take off. Think you can make it. Check it out. Kind of just lulling everybody to sleep. He just starts walking, taking off, and you're not going to get a much better jump than that. Talking about your walking lead.
And Coleman misses low.
Lulling him to sleep. And Greinke able to get in there standing up.
First stolen base by a pitcher all season for the Brewers. Two to Hart. Oh, that one didn't miss by much. A little bit low. It's 3-2 now. Zach Greinke's first career stolen base in scoring position for Corey Hart. He should score on a base hit. 3-2 on the way, and Hart lifts one in the air to left field. Soriano going back. Forget about it. Corey Hart does it again. A 2-run home run. 3-0 Brewers. Number 21 for Hart.
Man, it didn't look like a bad pitch by Coleman. He just went down and got it. And as tall as he is, he has that good leverage with those long arms. And look at out in front. He's got that little bit of a bend in that front leg, which means he's out in front. Didn't stay back on it, but still with the leverage that he has. Able to get it out of here. That was a one-handed swing by Corey. And up over the Friday's Sports Grill.
Corey Hart is now 7 for his last 7 with 3 walks. Going back to Friday night's game. In Hart's last 3 plate appearances on Friday night, he had a single, a walk, and a single.
And he's got his average up to 284.
And now 50 runs batted in on his 21st home run. Nigel Morgan over to Pena. Go to the bag for out number 2. What a run Corey Hart is on.
Yeah.
And he's got a chance at another cycle today. He is a triple and a double away from a cycle in today's game.
Well, that's the thing about Corey. I mean, Corey can get very streaky. I mean, he can go stretches where he doesn't look that good at the plate, but then he'll snap out of it and go to a stretch like he's been on his last 10 games, hitting over 400 and driving in a lot of runs.
Ryan Braun's been a hot hitter as well. Braun with a double and a walk here today. And in his last 18 at-bats, Braun has 8 hits, 6 of them doubles. Little half swing, going to be a tough play. Castro coming in, no chance. Braun with his great speed putting the pressure on Castro. And that'll be an infield hit for Ryan Braun.
Yeah, once that ball got by the pitcher, there's no way Castro is going to make a play on it, even if he gets it in his bare hand. He's not going to get Brawny. Brawny's sniffing a base hit. That's how you win batting titles, infield hits. And a check swing at that. Put it in overdrive, we could sniff a hit.
2 more hits today for Ryan Braun. And he is currently hitting .335. Trying to chase down Jose Reyes. Fielder into center. And Bird is there for the out. The Brewers do some damage. Corey Hart in consecutive games goes deep. And a reminder, Fox Sports Wisconsin Outdoor showcases the ultimate in outdoor programming. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, experience everything from the pursuit of fish and game to exploring the best weekend destinations. Fox Sports Wisconsin Outdoors presented by Menards. Saturdays 6 a.m., Sundays 8 a.m. only on Fox Sports Wisconsin. A Corey Hart 2-run homer as the Brewers on top 3-0 now. Ryan Braun an RBI double in the first. And meanwhile, Zach Greinke is working on a 1-hit shutout through the first 5 innings. Coleman, a bouncing ball to Prince. He'll take it himself. And the Cubs pitcher is retired. 1 gone for Greinke in the 6th. Greinke now with 5 strikeouts to go along with his 2 walks. They only hit a broken bat single by Marlon Berg last inning. And back to the top of the order, Starlin Castro. Castro walked his last time up. Takes a strike. I was looking at Corey Hart's series here, and boy, he's on some kind of run. Remember, Hart started 0 for 2 on Friday night, and then he was able to collect 2 hits and a walk. He scored twice, had a stolen base. Now has 7 hits in his last 7 at bats with 2 homers and 4 runs batted in, a stolen base, and he scored 6 runs in that stretch. Castro down the right field line, long run for Hart, and he makes the catch. What else can he do?
Yeah, but it's Corey Hart's series. He's having a heck of a run in the last 3 days. I'll tell you, that was a pretty good piece of hitting by Castro on an 0-2 pitch. And Corey playing out there in right field, gets a good angle on it, down in the corner. Corey's good speed, and watch him stretch out. You know, the key to that play, and David Nelson talks about this all the time, don't run with your arm extended. You run hard, and right at the last minute you throw that glove out there. That's how you get there quickly. Well done by Corey Hart.
Using all of that 6'6" frame to pull that one back. Robbing Castro of extra bases. You're looking at least a double, most likely a triple if Hart doesn't come up with that catch.
And that ball just kept slicing further and further away from him as it got out there.
Into right center. That's going to fall for a base hit. And Darwin Barney is on his way to second. Little miscommunication between Morgan and Hart. So a double for Barney with 2 away. Got some news and notes around Major League Baseball. Justin Verlander, the first to 20 wins this year. Verlander went 6 innings yesterday against the Twins. Not his best day, but still good enough for a win. And Vin Scully, the greatest of them all. He is returning for a 63rd season.
Good for him. One of the good guys in this game. Wouldn't be the same without Vin doing Dodger games.
I think the Dodgers need Vin Scully more than ever right now.
Right.
The other team in LA, the Angels, 5 home runs in an 8-4 win yesterday, tightening up that American League West. Currently, the Rangers have a 2-game lead over the Angels. Angels have won 7 of their last 10 games.
Yeah, 4 runs on Justin Verlander. That's a bunch. I mean, every time he goes out there, he's got a chance at a no-hitter. Some kind of year, he's got to be the Cy Young Award winner in the American League, or one of the top candidates.
Yeah, there's even some talk about Verlander for MVP. If you want to get Bill Schroeder all riled up, just
I don't get riled up now. Come on.
A pitcher for an MVP award.
I'm okay with the pitcher being an MVP if there's not a position player that is deserving. Is that the case in the American League, you think?
Not at all. Curtis Granderson.
Right.
Mark Teixeira. Michael Young's having a great year with the Rangers.
Gonzalez, Boston.
What is your MVP criteria, Rock?
It doesn't
Value
matter
to a team?
It doesn't matter what I think.
Sure it does. You're the Brewers analyst.
I'm just saying.
Everybody loves to hear your thoughts.
If there is no position player that is worthy of the MVP award, I have no problem giving it to a pitcher. But they have their own award.
The Cy Young Award.
Right. Starting pitcher, 1 every 5 days. Position players in there every day.
Tigers have opened up a 6.5 game lead over the Cleveland Indians in the American League Central. Two and two on Ramirez. Cubs for the first time in this game with a runner in scoring position. Greinke has given up 2 walks. Both of those walks came with 2 outs. The single he allowed to Bird last inning was wiped out when Greinke made a stab on a line drive back to the mound, turned it into a double play. Two balls, 2 strikes. Ramirez at the plate. Just got a piece. Had a good cut.
Right on it. And when this guy is hot, and we talk about streaky hitters, and he's been on a good stretch for a while, Ramirez will hit anything. And his last time up, he hit a bullet to Braun, and that was on a slider away.
Greinke struck him out in the first looking, and then a soft liner in the fourth. And a swing and a miss. Got him on a breaking ball. Ramirez strikes out. Greinke is racking him up. 6 Ks through 6 innings. And how about the defense tonight? Corey Hart, terrific catch after his 2-run homer in the 5th. Wisconsin is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By Airtran, go, there's nothing stopping you. And by the Miller Lite Vortex bottle, taste greatness. Sellout crowd at Miller Park. What a beautiful scene here, and what a homestand it has been. The Brewers have sold out all 3 days of the weekend part of this homestand, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday series against the Cubs. This will be the 27th sellout of the year. 3-0 Brewers over the Cubs as we play in the home half of the 6th inning. Casey McGee leads off. He'll be followed by Betancourt and then Jerry Hairston. McGee is 0 for 2. Strikeout and a ground out. Coleman has added a little deception to his motion. We've talked about his motion from the windup, but there's a little more coil in there from what we saw last year.
Yeah, trying to hide the ball a little bit. You know, we talked about Coleman doesn't throw very hard. He relies on a little bit of movement with that fastball, and can make it a little bit more difficult for a hitter to see the baseball, it's going to help. And he hasn't pitched that poorly today. Coming in 11 starts with the Cubs. Had an earned run average at over 7.5. Pitching pretty well today.
Coleman with back-to-back losses in his last 2 starts against the Astros and the Braves. His 2 starts since being recalled from AAA Iowa. His wins this year at the major league level against the Rockies in Denver. Got a win against the Florida Marlins as well. That was on the road also as he strikes out Casey McGee. 4th strikeout for Coleman.
And most of the strikeouts are looking. So having good command. Catch all the action of the postseason this year on Fox and TBS. It all begins September 30th with the Division Series on TBS.
American League will get it started on that Friday afternoon and night, and then the National League in play Saturday. Our colleague from Turner Sports, Ernie Johnson, is here today covering the game. And you know, having Ernie here, and his father, Ernie Sr., passed away a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about Ernie Johnson Jr. here in Milwaukee. He was born here, and his dad was a big part of that Braves club. There's EJ. His dad was on the '57 championship team, the world champion Milwaukee Braves. Had a good chat today. Ernie's working with John Smoltz. But that's a big loss in baseball. Not only was Ernie Johnson Sr. a terrific player, relief pitcher, world champion, but then also an iconic broadcaster in Atlanta.
Yep.
So I know Ernie was very appreciative of all that has been said about his father here in Milwaukee, especially the group that follows the Brewers who go back to the Milwaukee Braves days. A lot of them were in the ballpark earlier today, so wanted to pass that along from EJ. Now the legacies matching up against each other, Hairston and Coleman. Hard hit ball to center. But Marlon Byrd is right there for the out. 3 up, 3 down for Casey Coleman. On our way to the 7th, Greinke back on the mound with a shutout.
summary. Number 88, RBI number 88 came in the first inning for Ryan Braun as he shoot one down the right field line to make it a 1-0 ball game. Zach Greinke has been shutting them down. He has a 2-hit shutout through 6 innings so far with 6 strikeouts to go. And Corey Hart added some insurance in the bottom of the 5th. He belts out his 21st home run of the season. That was a 2-run shot to make it a 3-0 game, and that's where we stand here in the top of the 7th. BA.
All right, Telly, thanks. And it looks like Zach Greinke is answering some of those questions. He was approached by Ron Renicky and Rick Kranitz about maybe taking the off days, falling back in the rotation a little bit. He said, no, I want to keep it going. I don't need the rest. And he is certainly pitching according to those words here this afternoon. A 2-hit shutout for Greinke with 6 Ks. Only 2 walks allowed.
It's all about the timing, you know, when you go to a pitcher and say you need some extra time off. And the last time you want to do it, the worst time to do it is after a start like Greinke had against the Pirates. I mean, there's no way he wanted to sit on that for 7-8 days. Want to get right back at it, and because of that, he's been pitching a dandy here today. Pitch count in very good shape.
Yeah, that's a great point. Renicky relies heavily on his veteran players. He allows them to make a lot of decisions. I mean, he goes to them. I think he does it for 2 reasons. Number one, it allows them to have a little ownership in what's going on because they are the players who are performing. But it also allows Renicky to engage in a conversation about what he thinks is important as well moving forward.
And plus, these pitchers have earned it. I mean, Greinke, Markham, Gallardo, all these guys, Randy Wolf, have, they've earned that type of respect from their manager.
A base hit by Pena.
And not just this year. I mean, they've had long careers, and when you have certain guys that have had a level of success for an extended period of time, they like to be in on decisions. And that's what you love most about Ron Renicky. I mean, he'll talk about it. He'll solicit a lot of different opinions. He'll, Kranitz and the pitchers themselves, and make a decision based on that.
And they just basically went down the starting rotation. And the top 4 starters said they wanted to stay as close to their regular rest as possible. So when it got down to Chris Narveson, last in, 5th starter,
he wasn't asked.
Head out to the bullpen.
And I think it's going to help Narveson too because of his injuries. I mean, the 2 finger injuries that he has.
Yeah, he has the laceration on the thumb that he did with scissors trying to repair a glove. Did come back, made a start. But the Narveson situation, the Brewers dropped their 5th starter because of the off days. They don't need a 5th starter. They moved him into the bullpen. And I think Renicky and Kranitz are anxious to see what Narveson can do out of the bullpen, especially against some of the better left-handed hitters coming up. He'll get a chance in the Cardinal series, you would think. He might get a chance today.
It could very well be the answer as the left-hander in the bullpen should the Brewers get to the postseason. And Narvi's numbers against lefties have been very good this year. An opponent batting average at .219. He's only allowed 2 home runs to left-handed hitters. And we'll see. Of course, he did not fare all that well out of the bullpen last year.
I wonder if they've come up with a handshake, a stylized handshake for Narveson yet. It's Colvin swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes. That is number 7 for Greinke.
7 strikeouts, all but one of them swinging strikes. The only called strike 3 was that Aramis Ramirez strikeout in the 1st inning.
Greinke's high strikeout mark this year is 10. Done on 4 occasions this season. One of those was against the Cubs back in June. That was a strange game statistically for Greinke. He went 5 1/3. He struck out 2, and he struck out 10 and walked 2. And he gave up 8 runs, 6 of them earned. It was all or nothing for Greinke at Wrigley Field in June. But now Greinke has put together 13 scoreless innings against the Cubs. Did not allow a run to the Cubs on July 27th, and he's working on a 3-hit shutout here today.
And of course that stretch is all here at Miller Park.
Bird into center, and Morgan makes a catch for out number 2.
That didn't even have to move. I tell you, Marlon Bird's put together some pretty good at-bats in this series. Last 2 games anyway.
Bird 1 for 2 with a walk today. Had 3 hits yesterday. Starting to round back into form, Marlon Bird. 2 men are out. Here is Soriano.
Soriano may very well have the longest bat in all of baseball. I mean, not only does he have a long bat, I think it's about a 35 or 36-inch bat, maybe 36 inches, but he's right on top of home plate. Normally, hitters that have that long of a bat, they're off the plate a little bit. He's got those hands hanging over the inside corner. Long bat, heavy bat, up in front of the batter's box and right on top of the plate. Unusual.
Don't see many closed stances anymore either. Bouncing ball. Betancourt to second in time, and the inning is over. And Zach Greinke rolling along against the Cubs today. 7 shutout innings, only 3 hits allowed, and it's 3-0 Brewers. And as is our custom here on Sundays, we turn it over to Rob Edwards and Miller Park's presentation of God Bless America.
Brewers cruising behind Zach Greinke. It's 3-0 going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Cruising offensively with Corey Hart 7 for 9 in the series, including a couple of home runs. Some nice defense, Davey.
Oh, he's flashing the wood, flashing the leather, but Corey, he's in one of those streaks right now. When he's hot, he's hot. He can carry you, and he's doing a wonderful job right now.
Well, he's hitting just about everything right now, David. Also flashing the leather, as you mentioned as well. He's going to bat 3rd in this inning, so we're going to continue to cover this game and also get ready for Brewers Live post-game coming up right after the ball game here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Brian and Bill.
All right, Craig and Davey, thank you. And the Brewers coming up, home half of the 7th inning. Casey Coleman is still out there. He is matching up against a juggernaut today in Zach Greinke, who is on his A game. Greinke with 7 shutout innings on a 3-hitter and is in the on-deck circle, which gives you an indication that he's coming back out for an 8th.
Oh, yeah. Be hard-pressed to pull Greinke out of this one right now. I'll tell you, Casey Coleman, you got to tip your hat to him. He's done a nice job today.
Bullpen activity for the Cubs. Nothing Brewers. A double and an RBI from Braun, a 2-run homer from Corey Hart. That homer came in the 5th. So Lucroy swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes. Casey Coleman has 5 punch-outs today. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap? The Brewers will enjoy an off day tomorrow, a scheduled off day. And then the Cardinals are in Tuesday. Got the Cardinals Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And note the airtime and start time on Thursday. That is a 2:30 Brewers Live airtime. First pitch is just after 3 o'clock. First day of school in Wisconsin. So a chance to go to school and then come out to the ballpark. Zach Greinke singled his last time up. He was on base when Hart hit the home run. Matter of fact, Greinke had a steal in that 5th inning. Becoming just the 3rd pitcher this year with a stolen base.
And the 2nd for the Brewers in their history. Remember last year Randy Wolf had a stolen base against the Reds at Cincinnati almost a year ago to the day. That was August 30th in Cincinnati. Randy Wolf with a stolen base.
And those are the only 2 in franchise history. Only 2 pitchers with stolen bases. That's surprising. Ted Lilly and Cliff Lee are the other 2 in the major leagues with steals this year. Now Zach Greinke is on that list. His first career stolen base. And Greinke strikes out. So Casey Coleman, 2 strikeouts in the 7th, and now he'll match up against Corey Hart, who has not been retired in this game. Matter of fact, hasn't been retired in the last 2 games. Yesterday, Corey Hart had a double, a triple, and a home run. 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored. He was a single away from the cycle. So at his first at bat today, he singles the Hart cycle. And then he followed it up with a 2-run homer in the 5th.
Yeah, you got to be strong to be able to do what he just did on that breaking ball. And on his front foot, he had let go of the top hand and still able to hit it out of here. Got on base his last 3 times on Friday and has not been retired since.
At the plate presented by Wendy's for Corey Hart today. 2 for 2 with a walk, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. 7 for his last 7. Hart has reached base in 10 consecutive plate appearances going back to Friday. 7 hits, 3 walks, 6 runs scored. He's hit 2 homers during that stretch. Hart into right. Did he get it? Back is Colvin at the wall. He reaches up and makes the catch. And that is how you retire Corey Hart at the plate. Terrific over-the-shoulder catch by Tyler Colvin. The first out Hart has made since Friday.
Game 1 of the series at Miller Park Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. We are looking at partly cloudy skies and all-around comfortable game with the first pitch coming in at 75 degrees.
And looking forward to Tuesday. More great weather here in the Midwest as we move into the month of September on this homestand. Wrapping up the month of August, which has been incredibly successfol. Coy Hill swinging away at the first pitch from Greinke, out number 1. Ho-Chunk text question today. Can players who come off the disabled list after September 1st still be on the playoff roster?
Absolutely. Yep. It's only guys that are, new to the organization. You can't make a trade in September and have them eligible for the postseason. Any deal has to be made before September 1st. Even your minor leaguers are eligible.
Greinke with pitch number 101. Blake DeWitt is the pinch hitter. Taylor Green in the big leagues prior to the September call-ups. Certainly playoff eligible. You wonder if Green's going to get a shot here in this game. With the way Zach Greinke's going, he's the story right now. He's got a shutout, a 3-hitter. His pitch count is just now over 100. Is Greinke going to be allowed to try to finish this game here today?
You got K-Rod getting loose in the Brewers bullpen. All hands on deck today for Ron Roenicke with tomorrow's off day.
Now the most Greinke has thrown this year, the most pitches, 116. Did that in June. There's a strike. Full count to DeWitt, pinch hitting here in the 8th inning. Closes out the line on Casey Coleman. 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs earned, and he's on the hook for the loss despite pitching well. That one is a fair ball down the line. That's going to go to the wall. And Blake DeWitt with extra bases.
That guy's been a tough out this entire series. He hasn't started a game, but he's pinch hit 3 times and has really put together some good at bats. It's the Cubs' best pinch hitter and shows you why. That was a good at bat, a 3-2 pitch, and he's able to pull the hands in and whistle it right down the first baseline. Another good at bat by Blake DeWitt. Wonder why he hasn't gotten a start in this series. This guy's been swinging it.
He was the last out on Friday, and he smoked one over the fielder. Prince made a nice pickup. DeWitt representing the tying run on Friday night.
And he walked yesterday as a pinch hitter.
So only the second base runner that has reached second base in this game has reached scoring position for the Cubs. K-Rod came in the 8th inning yesterday. Did some kind of job retiring the 2 hitters he faced to get out of a mess. Cubs had the tying run at the plate yesterday in the 8th. They'll ask if he went. Castro able to check his swing, according to James Hoy. Cardinals are back on top of the Pirates. That game is now 5-4 St. Louis. In the top of the 6th inning, that's been a back and forth ball game today. One and 2 on Starlin Castro.
Well, there's just certain guys that you face throughout the year that, you know, they go up there at the plate and you expect them to get a good at bat. You expect them to hit the ball hard, and Castro is getting that reputation amongst baseball. I mean, he stands up there, you look at him game in and game out, and just has a good idea what he's doing up there at the plate. He's certainly a guy you got to be careful with.
Castro with 8 homers on the year. He homered in his first at bat of this series on Friday night. Able to lay off a pretty good breaking ball. 2-2 now on Castro.
Man, you wonder what he's going to be able to do once he has a better understanding of his strike zone. Doesn't walk much, still hitting 300. This guy's got 555 at bats already. That's not just plate appearances. Not supposed to do that with a man on base. I guess you can help the catcher if you'd like. no need to get up. I'll get
Blake.
it for you.
I got it. Stay right there, Blake. Starlin Castro. And he fouls one away. Castro was born in 1990. March 24th of 90. He turned 21 years of age this past March. He was in the big leagues at 19 last year. I guess spring training at 19. And then when the season started, he was 20.
Okay.
When we first saw him in spring training of 2010, he was 19. He's laid off a couple of good breaking balls from Greinke. Zach gets a lot of swings and misses at that pitch.
It's not often thrown for a strike. Not a called strike. It's one of those swing and miss strikes. And the Cubs have done a pretty good job laying off it today.
Castro, you're talking about his at-bats. He leads all of baseball in at-bats this year. And a bouncing ball to short. Uni makes a long throw in time for the out. Second out of the inning.
Hey, get your tickets now for Brewers on Deck, presented by Time Warner Cable. That's Sunday, January 29th at the Frontier Airlines Center. Purchase by September 28th to get a ticket voucher for a selected Brewers home game. That's in next April. Visit brewers.com/on-deck for details.
Now Renicky on his way to the mound, and he is going to make a pitching change before he even gets to the mound to hear from Greinke.
That pitch count got Zach.
And listen to this ovation for Zach Greinke on his way out. Here at Miller Park. 41,883 the announced attendance, and we are in the 8th inning. The Cubs with a runner at second base, 2 outs. Greinke's pitch count got uncomfortably high for Ron Renicky, so he makes the change, and now it's K-Rod to try to get the final out of this 8th inning.
Yeah, 18 of those games that you see for K-Rod have come with the Brewers. He's 3-0 at .318 earned run average. 6 runs allowed in 18 innings of work, and what a job by Zack Greinke once again here at Miller Park.
7 2/3, only 4 hits. Still a runner out there that is his responsibility. Darwin Barney at the plate for the Cubs, and K-Rod deals him strike 1. Rodriguez came in a big mess yesterday. Cubs had 3 runs in. It was 6-1 when the 8th inning began. Soriano plated 3 runs with a double. The Cubs had the tying run at the plate. K-Rod came on. He struck out Soto, and then he got a ground ball out from Reed Johnson to end it. And then Axford came on for the save in the 9th.
An important hitter right here for the Brewers. You don't want to lose Barney and have Aramis Ramirez come up representing the tying run. This is the guy you want right here. And K-Rod out in front of him, 0-2.
Brewers got a run in the first on an RBI from Braun, a 2-run homer from Hart in the 5th. 3-0. And the 0-2 from K-Rod. Line drive right field. That is fair, and that is going to be a run for the Cubs. And the score is DeWitt. That's an RBI double for Darwin Barney.
I'm not sure. That was a fastball away, and not a very good 0-2 pitch by Francisco Rodriguez. Had a couple of pitches to play with, and now you've got to deal with Aramis Ramirez, and he represents the tying run. So put a run on the line for Zack Greinke. Too good of a pitch for 0-2, and Barney able to dump it down the right field line.
Now here is Ramirez. Ramirez is 0 for 3 today, sitting on a 16-game hitting streak. However, he's been one of the hottest hitters in the National League over the last couple of weeks. Greinke had his number, struck him out twice.
You got to be very careful fastballs here. Rodriguez throwing his fastball 91, 92 miles an hour. And you know Ramirez is sitting back waiting for one on a 2-0 count.
Got a fastball, but a perfectly placed fastball for a strike. 2-1 now.
You can't put it any better than that. Right on the outside corner. Tough customer on deck as well.
Carlos Pena on deck. 3-4 hitters of the Chicago Cubs. They are where they want to be at the tying run at the plate. 2 balls and a strike on Ramirez. Swing and a miss way out in front. 2-2 on Ramirez.
Got that devastating changeup, and Ramirez swings at it as it bounces in front of home plate. Doesn't get much better than that changeup from K-Rod.
Greinke has a chance to win his 13th. But the bullpen will have to take him the rest of the way. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the 8th. And a bouncing ball to McGee. And the side retired. Francisco Rodriguez. Another hold as he gets through the 8th. 3-1 our score. The Brewers lead it. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 8th inning, the Brewers lead 3-1. It was started with a double by Braun in the first inning, driving in Corey Hart. Quick strike tonight for Milwaukee, and then Hart with a 2-run homer in the 5th inning, his 21st homer of the year. Now 50 runs batted in. Zach Greinke was the headliner today, though. Greinke goes 7 2/3, gives up just 1 run on 4 hits. Greinke struck out 7 and is in line for his 13th win of the season and his 10th win here at Miller Park.
Isn't that something?
In just 13 starts.
And will lower his home earned run average already at 3.07 before today's game.
Tony Plush will lead off for the Brew Crew. Carlos Marmol is the new Cubs pitcher. Brewers have put themselves in a position not to have to face Marmol in a save situation. He pitches with his Cubs down 2 runs. Cubs are on the road still. They head to San Francisco since they were in the neighborhood. As Morgan goes soft liner out to Bird for the first out.
Yeah, San Francisco. Then they come home and they finish the season St. Louis and San Diego on the road.
Since they're in the neighborhood.
Can you believe that?
That's a rough trip.
It's okay. Could be the Brewers.
It was the Brewers in the first half.
Right.
Brewers are reaping the rewards of a very difficult first half schedule now in the second half. Not just home games, but easy travel destinations and a ton of off days. I haven't looked at every team in the major leagues, but I'm almost willing to bet with certainty that no team has as many off days as the Brewers have the rest of the season. There's so many makeup games to be played all across baseball.
Particularly on the East Coast right now. Just going to be stacking them up as Hurricane Irene goes through.
Brewers will have an off day tomorrow. And then 3 more off days in the month of September. So if you're looking ahead, which we like to do, the Brewers don't, Ron Renicky doesn't, but if the Brewers can stay on this run, you could clinch sometime prior to the 11th of September. Then you'd have all of this time not only to enjoy these off days, get rest, but also set up your starting rotation and everything you want to do leading into a postseason. It's getting out ahead of things a little bit, but that's what's in front of Milwaukee. And so far this team has continued to roll. The Brewers have won 16 of their last 18 games here at Miller Park. Take it back even further, they are 20-3 since July 6th.
Man, just hope it continues. I mean, when you talk to Ron Renicky, the only thing he wants to think about is winning series. He doesn't care about winning streaks. It's winning 2 out of 3. Continue to play good baseball. And that's what his team has been doing for a good long stretch.
Only the Phillies and the Brewers to 80 wins this year in the National League as Marmol buzzes the tower on Ryan Braun.
Yeah, Brewers with the 3rd best record in all of baseball.
Braun into right. Tyler Colvin is there. And Marmol has 2 up and 2 down in the 8th inning. Setting up an always entertaining matchup. Marmol against Prince Fielder here with 2 away. So Braun will finish 2 for 3 with a walk and an RBI if this one ends in regulation. Fielder looking for his first hit. Homered here last night. Home run number 29 for Fielder. Now 102 runs batted in. Prince has driven in a pair in this series.
That home run last night proved to be a big one. At the time, you didn't think it was going to be, but the Brewers ended up winning by 2. So a little bit of insurance at the end of the game last night.
Over in the American League, Curtis Granderson and Adrian Gonzalez with 103 runs batted in. Fielder leads the National League with 102. Matt Kemp is the only other National Leaguer who has achieved triple digits in RBIs. He has 100. Fielder shared an RBI title with Ryan Howard 2 years ago. He drove in 141. Bouncing ball. Fielder stumbles out of the batter's box. And Barney will take care of him. 3 up, 3 down for Marmol. And here we go to the 9th inning. John Axford looking for save number 40. 3-1 Brewers. John Axford on for the save as we move to the 9th inning. 3-1 Brewers over the Cubs. Axford looking for save number 40.
He's been outstanding. He was able to close out last night's ball game. 64 appearances for John Axford, and 73 strikeouts in just over 61 innings of work.
At Carlos Pena, Tyler Colvin, Marlon Byrd due up. 2-run lead to work with, and Axford misses down and in. The only other Brewer in franchise history to achieve 40 saves in a season was Francisco Cordero. He had 44 back in 07. Craig Kimbrell is the first to 40 in the National League. Axford could tie him with a save today as Pena lifts that one high and deep to right center. Back is Nigel Morgan on the warning track. He's got it for the out. Well, it had a home run sound, but just too much air under it for Carlos Pena.
And he's had a couple of near misses in this series as Carlos Pena. Well, you talk about closers in the National League. Nobody's been any better than John Axford. His last 56 games, 36 for 36. Look at the opponent batting average of 214 and a 146 earned run average. He's been lights out. He's been able to get ahead with the fastball, throw the curveball and the slider for strikes. Been an incredible run for John Axford.
Facing Tyler Colvin here in the ninth. First ball swinging, fouls it away. Axford blew 2 saves in the month of April, one on opening day and then the other against the Phillies. And those numbers you saw since his second blown save, his last blown save. 37 consecutive, making a run at 37 in a row here today. Zach Greinke 7 2/3, just 1 run. K-Rod got him out of the 8th, and now it's Axford in the 9th. It's Colvin off the end of the bat. Back is Corey Hart. That ball's got some travel, actually, and that one's gone. Oh, my bad. That didn't sound like he barreled up, but Tyler Colvin hits it out. A solo homer makes it 3-2.
Yeah, ball down. Well, Colvin likes the ball down like a lot of left-handed batters, and just dropped the head of the bat on it and just hit a bullet on out of here. You're right, it didn't have that big sound like the swing of the bat that Carlos Pena had, but that ball carried pretty well. Watch where it was. Out over the plate, down in the zone, and he gives it a pretty good ride out in there in right center.
So it's a home run for Colvin, his 6th of the year.
Nice easy swing down and through, and just able to get it over that wall.
Makes it a 1-run game now. Marlon Byrd with 1 away. Axford pitching in his 3rd consecutive day. Axford pitching in his 4th consecutive game. He actually worked to 1 batter on Wednesday against the Pirates just to get some work. He hadn't pitched much on the road trip. That 3rd day is always a concern. Axford had an easy inning yesterday, retiring the side in order in the 9th. And he walks Marlon Byrd. So the Cubs putting up a fight here in the 9th inning. Now the tying run is aboard, and the go-ahead run is coming up in Alfonso Soriano.
Man, when you look at the bench for the Cubs, they've got some pretty good sticks on the bench. Jeff Baker, Reed Johnson. They've got Giovanni Soto, their everyday catcher. And don't forget about Soriano. He has certainly enough power to put the Cubs ahead. Well, the home run perhaps shook up John Axford just enough to have him lose his focus and lose his command. And Marlon Byrd, not a base stealer, but he's got pretty decent speed. We'll see if the Cubs elect to try and steal a base here. Axford relatively slow to home plate.
So Byrd is aboard for the 3rd time in this game. And now a dangerous home run threat. Alfonso Soriano. Cubs down a run. The Brewers lead 3-2 with 1 out here in the 9th. Soriano fouls it away. Knows he missed a pitch.
And we mentioned that John Axford had pitched in 4 straight games, but they did have an off day in there. That last fastball in 93 miles an hour, so velocity not what it normally is for the Axeman. He's usually up there around 97.
Brewers are looking for a ground ball double play to end this game. And it's 0-2 on Soriano.
A lot of times when you're tired, you end up hanging breaking balls. That's the last thing you want here. That slider was a pretty good pitch, down and away.
Cubs scored a run in the 8th. And they've added one here in the 9th, and now a 3-2 ball game. Soriano has bounced into 14 double plays this season. but he also has 22 homers. The 0-2, Soriano lays off.
Down and away, good spot for Soriano. Down and in, not so much.
One and two. Soriano into right. That ball is pretty well hit. Corey Hart at the wall. He is there to make the catch.
Well, he was playing deep, and it was a good thing. My goodness. Soriano put a charge into that one. Corey started, I think, right at the warning track. He had to go back about 2 steps and made the catch right on the wall and right. He was very fortunate on that. He was standing there waiting for it.
Good scouting work. The Brewers backing up their outfielders, and Hart was right there for an easy play. Otherwise, that's big trouble. That's a run in and a runner in scoring position.
Well, you got to play deep. The only thing that's going to tie the game is an extra base hit. That's why the outfield is deep. It continues to be deep for Reed Johnson.
Johnson off the bench. They're on their feet at Miller Park, over 41,000. Cubs down to their last out. Axford walking a tightrope here this afternoon. And a breaking ball strike. A curveball from Axford.
I'm amazed that Marlon Bird's not trying to steal a base. The other thing is, if you don't feel comfortable with Bird at first, you got Tony Campana on the bench. He's one of the fastest guys in baseball.
Remember, Mike Quaddy ejected from this game in the first inning. Cubs being managed by Pat Listash here. Bird stays put. Johnson takes strike 2. 0-2 the count on Reed Johnson. Axford has saved his best 2 curveballs for this at bat. Cubs are down to their last strike. The 0-2 pitch. And a bouncing ball. McGee off his glove. Betancourt's throw to first. And in and out of the glove of Fielder. The game continues.
Yeah, it would have been a nice play by Casey McGee, but he'll tell you he probably should have had it. A high hopper to third base. Went off his glove. And it will be an error. Another curveball. Casey McGee not able to handle it, and the inning continues.
An E5 on McGee. First and second for the Cubs.
That's a good thing that Marlon Bird didn't steal second base. That might have been a run, or it would have been close. Now a base hit ties it up.
Giovanni Soto off the bench. Soto has some power. He is hitless in this series. Day game after a night game. He was not in the starting lineup. He is the everyday catcher for the Cubs. 2 outs. 3-2 Milwaukee. And Soto bounces one to McGee. Plays it off the chest. Puts the tag on Bird. And that's your ball game. John Axford with save number 40. As the Brewers win, they sweep the Chicago Cubs. A 3-2 final here today. The Brewers win for the 50th time at Miller Park this year. They go to 50-16. They go to 81-54 for the season. Zach Greinke, his 13th win. And Greinke is our Menards player of the game. And Rock Greinke was not only on his game on the mound, but also had a hit in this one today.
Yeah, and a stolen base. He was able to score a run. Greinke with the 7 strikeouts. He walked a couple. He goes to 10-0 at home. The earned run average here at Miller Park goes below 3, and he has been lights out. He had that one hiccup his last time out, but his last 10 or so starts have been very good for the Brewers.
Brewers will stay at least 10.5 up. They could go to 11.5 games up in the Central as Axford saves his 37th consecutive And now 40 saves and much more still to come on this one. Craig Kashawn, what do you have coming up on Brewers Live?
Well, we're going to look at some impressive home records that are either tied or broken with this win here today. Did not come easy down the stretch for John Axford, but he still does the job. Brewers win it. Brewers Live postgame. We're going to hear from the heroes when we come back on Fox Sports Wisconsin.